Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. For today's look, I'm showing you a more wearable look. I wanted to try creating more wearable looks for special occasions. So for this look, I used the Forever Flawless palette and Fire from Makeup Revolution. And with that, I came up with this very warm eyeshadow look. So let's go ahead and get started. So as always, I'm starting with the Plouise eyeshadow base in the shade number 2. And again, I am adding that all over my eyelid, and I'm starting to mark the bottom part of my eyebrow. I don't really do the top part, but I do make sure to do the bottom with that eyeshadow base. And so I do give time for the eyeshadow base to set. That's why I do take my time blending it out. Not necessarily because it needs to be blended or it's that hard to blend. It's just me giving it time to set. So we're starting off with the shade Ashes, and we're using brush M431. I'm really packing that shade Ashes on the crease or the outer corner and crease. I'm making sure that I really pack on the color. Again, I really do like when the color is really packed on, especially in the crease. I make sure that the crease color is really packed on before I even start blending it out. Okay, so once I'm really happy with how packed on the color is, I am not gonna add more eyeshadow to the brush. I'm just going to use what the brush already has and what my eyelid already has. So I'm gonna start very slightly blending it out, just so it's not that harsh, and it will help me blend out the second color. And the second shade is Flame, and I'm really blending that out with an M506. You see how that just made it so much quicker to blend those colors together? That's why I like to blend out the previous shade before I add a second shade. So next after that, I'm using RCMA translucent powder to blend out Flame, and I'm doing this because this palette does not have a lighter shade than Flame, and at least in matte. So I do this when a palette does not have a shade to blend out up to the brow bone. So now that we have kind of like the base, we're going back again with the same colors and re-intensifying the colors again. We might have taken off some of the shades because with all that blending, so we're going back again. It's much easier because the colors are already there. We're just re-intensifying them. So now that I'm happy with the blended out crease, I am starting with the eye makeup remover and a Q-tip, and I am using that to remove any extra product that might be on the eyelid. And I am also removing, of course, the eyeshadow base, just because I want to start with the plain canvas, and I am going to use a lighter eyeshadow base that will help the colors to come out more true to its color. So I'm using the Plouise in the shade Zero, and that, as you can see, is really white, so I want to use that just so the colors come out even brighter. So you don't have to do this if you don't want the colors to come out that bright. I just know, and I really love when I use this eyeshadow base, because the colors come out really almost as literally as they look in the pan, and I really like that. But I mean, it's not something necessary. So to cut the crease, I am using this flat brush. I bought this brush from AliExpress. I do have one from MAC, and I also have two from Morphe that for cutting creases. Or I mean, what is this called? Like just a flat brush? I don't know. I mean, that looks like this. Anyway, I bought this from AliExpress, and even though I have the other three, I keep coming back for this one, and it was really cheap. It was like $2, I believe, and it's really good. I don't know, I just wanted to let you know, because I remember when I wanted to start creating really good cut creases, I thought I had to spend so much money on more expensive brushes, and no, like I bought the other ones, which they weren't that expensive, but I mean $15, $6 to $2, I mean, you can't beat that. And I mean, I already have the other ones, but still I keep coming back for this one. So anyways, now that I'm done with the cut crease, I am going to take off a lot of the product from the brush and just tapping around on my eyelid where I set the eyeshadow base. That will help my eyeshadow base set. On the outer corner, I am blending it out with my finger. That will help me set the shade Ashes. And I'm really packing on the color there. Again, just I want it to be really not dark, but the deepest it can be. For the inner corner, I am going with the shade Phoenix. And I am really packing on the color. Again, I am using a really small brush just because it gives me a lot of control on the cut crease. So I'm adding this shade almost all over the lid. I'm just leaving a little bit of a space for the other shade just because I was not sure if that was going to be the only shade I was going to add on the crease. But then I decided that I wanted more color to it like I always do. So I went ahead and added this shade right here called Heat. And I am packing it on specifically in that area where I did not add Phoenix, just so it comes out even brighter. I am right after I'm done packing it on and I'm happy with how packed on it is, I am going to start blending it out with Phoenix. And let me tell you, I feel like this color Heat just made the look. I loved it once I added it. Before that, I was not really happy with how it was coming out, but then I added this color and I just absolutely loved it. It just made me happy. You know, when you start making that look and you're not you're like whatever, but then you add that one color that just truly makes you happy. This was it for me. Yeah, and then I go back with Ashes and I blend out those two shades, the Heat and Ashes, and I'm making sure Ashes is even blended out a little bit farther out just because I want kind of like that wing look or shade or shape. There you go, shape. Then with the fluffy brush, I just blend out even more again to get that winged shape. And I just make sure that outer part is just really blended because it was bothering me, I guess. So we're done with the eyes for now. And for primer, I am using the Maybelline Master Blur Stick. That's all I'm using for primer. Also, I'm just using this to cover my pores and my fine lines. I don't blend it out that much, just very lightly with my ring finger. So for foundation, I am using the Nars Sheer Glow in the shade Stromboli. I don't know. You tell me if you know. So for blending this out, I'm using the e.l.f. Camo Concealer Sponge, and I'm using that all over my face. And yes, I know it's a concealer sponge, but I just wanted to try a new sponge just because I'm always stuck with the other e.l.f. sponge. I believe it's a Total Face sponge. And yes, I really like the way this sponge applies all my foundation, but it is too small for my hand. In the middle of it, my thumb was hurting. So if they could make the same sponge a little bit bigger, that would be awesome. But maybe if you like don't have trouble with your fingers, I believe I have problems with my fingers because I use my phone all the time, which is, I know it's not good, but I haven't used this sponge ever since. I think I used it maybe once or twice more, but then I gave up. And I know it is a concealer sponge, but I am not gonna use two sponges for one look. I feel like that's too much. I guess I'm just too lazy, but I'm not gonna use two when I can just use one. So now for the concealer, I'm using the CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer in the shade Classic Ivory. I know I've been using this a lot. I fell in love with this concealer. I will try to use other ones. I just need to get more because the ones that I used to, the ones that I have don't really suit my skin tone anymore. And I did mess them up because I tried to add something to it and I just messed them up. But for now, this is a concealer I'm using and I don't mind it. I really like it. So again, I do add the concealer section by section just because I don't want it to dry out on me, and this is the way that it works perfectly fine for me. I feel like it's blend it out. It blends out way smoother, and I have more control over the concealer and the shade and blending it out. And I do take my time blending out the foundation and concealer, just because I feel like this is the most important part of your whole face. So take your time blending it out until you feel happy. Don't leave it out to dry too long, but do make sure it's very nicely blended out. And I lost a clip for the loose setting powder, but right here I am using the Airspan loose setting powder. I will leave it in the comments down below if you need to know exactly which one it is, but I am using a sponge to set my whole face just because I like that it gives me more of a flawless finish. So now that we're done setting the face, I am using the e.l.f. Flawless face brush and also the e.l.f. bronzer palette to bronze / contour my whole face. And this is another thing that I really like to do when I use brushes on my face. I don't drag the brush, I tap it. I slightly, kind of like a mixture of both, but mostly tapping. I don't drag the brush around just because it feels like when I drag it, I might drag some of the makeup like all over the place, I'm sorry. But and I also like that it gives me more of a seamless blend. So the only place where I do drag the brush is under my chin, just because that area is mostly hidden. From there I'm gonna move on to blush, and the blush that I'm gonna use is Afrique blush by Juvias in the shade Bella. I am using a Morphe brush to put that on. I really like this brush. Also, I felt like I added too much, so I used the e.l.f. sponge to just blend it a little bit. So it looks like we're back to the eyes, and on the outer corner it looks like we're using the shade Ashes. Again, I'm making sure it's really packed on, and I take that mostly really close to the inner corner, but not too much, because I'm gonna add another color there again, because I really like the looks to show some color. But right here I am just focusing on that color Ashes and making sure it's, and I don't really blend it. I slightly make a little blend around there, but not too much, because I want the darkest colors to be really concentrated, really close to the lash line. So now that I'm happy with the color Ashes, I go back with the shade of Flames and a fluffier brush, and I blend those two colors together. I do make sure they're really blended together. Even if they go lower on the lower lash line, I don't care. I just want those colors to be really blended together. After that, I go with the setting powder and I blend out the shade Flames. And once I'm happy with that, I go in the inner corner with the shade Smoke, and in the lower inner corner, I don't forget to add the shade Heat. That just brings a pop of color on the lower lash line. For mascara, I'm using Sensational Luscious from Maybelline, and you can see right here on top of my eyelid, I left some glue and then I took it off, but it took the eyeshadow, but I'm gonna go back there and fix that later. So for lashes, I'm using Diamond Lashes, and these are another pair of lashes that I really enjoy. There's 3 things that I like about these. 1, that I very like. 2, that it adds like an instant elegant look to my eyes. And 3, they're really easy to apply. And as you can see right here, I try to fix my eyeshadow, which I did. So I'm moving on to highlighter. For highlighting, I'm using the Wet n Wild Loose highlighter, in the shade I'm So Lit. And I think this was my first time trying it. You can see right there, I really liked it. I feel like that's the only highlighter I've been using ever since for my looks, because I do have more looks for you guys. I just have not edited them, but I fell in love with it. I'm obsessed with it now. So I do add that all over the top of my cheeks, the bridge of my nose, the center of my eyebrows, top of my lips, and my chin. Those are the best areas where I do like to add the highlighter, especially if it's so highlighting like this one. And yeah, So now I'm prepping my lips to start lining them, and to line them I am going to use the LA Girl Ultimate Intense Stay Auto Liner in the shade Keep It Up. No, I'm sorry, Keep It Spicy. I really like this liner. It's really hard for me to find one that really fits my skin tone, but so far I think this one's my favorite for that, even though it's a little bit darker, but I do feel like it complements my lips. Also, I am trying to overline my lips. I'm still working on that. I need to practice a little bit more because sometimes like my lips look crooked, or one side is like too thin and the other one's like more pouchy. I don't know. I need to work on that. If you have any tricks, please let me know in the comments down below. So moving on from the liner, I am using NYX Butter Gloss Intense in the shade Chocolate Crepe, and I added that all over my lips. I really like how this look came up, but I wanted the lips to be a little bit lighter, or at least a little bit more contoured, so I went ahead and added NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Madeline, and I added that more in the center of my lips. With that, I kind of contour my lips, and I really like how it came out like that. And finally, to finish up the look, I am using the Morphe Containing Setting Mist and Sweet Peach. I am going to spritz that all over my face, making sure I fan it out to make sure it dries. So this completes the look, you guys. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in my next one. Bye.